I get a lot of questions about which camera I use, as if it's like the only talented thing involved, but what about me and what I do? So today I'm going to tell you exactly how much your camera matters, or how much it may matter. No one ever teaches you in photography when you're just getting started that it's really easy to take a bad photo with any camera you have. But then you automatically assume that the better camera you get, it takes better photos. Not necessarily true. When you break it down like that, it makes all the sense in the world. Take good photos with anything and bad photos with anything. But there are some differences, and so I'd like to run over some examples. First is this photo I have right here of Mount Hood. I went down there in late spring, pretty much after all the snow melted, but there was still enough there to not have the gate open, so we had to hike down to the lake. The key on this photo was waiting for sunset. It didn't really matter what camera I used. I took a photo with my cell phone and with my camera, and so we're going to compare today. They're pretty similar. What the camera gives you is higher resolution. What the cell phone gives you is less resolution, less dynamic range, less clarity. But that doesn't necessarily make the photo better on my Nikon. So if you look at the two side by side, I'll pull them up here. Just so you know, these photos are both unedited out of camera. It's pretty easy to see they're very similar because the key thing was to get the light hitting the mountain and the reflection of the water. Those don't have anything to do with the camera I'm using. And so it's pretty surprising when you look at both. Not very many differences. Probably the biggest difference I see is the shadow detail. And the cell phone did a decently good job, but I can tell the color rendering naturally from my Nikon and my cell phone, which, by the way, my cell phone was a Google Pixel 2 at this time. Decent camera for a cell phone. And my Nikon, it was a D750, which is a great camera. But anyways, yeah, pretty shocking how it's easy to take a good photo when the conditions are right. So you have to set yourself up for these situations, find beautiful things, and put them in front of your camera. The key here was waiting for sunset. It's beautiful. Anytime you get to this mountain in a reflection, Mount Hood, it's a beautiful shot. So you can't lose there. But this goes to show my cell phone was able to take a great photo. If I was posting this on Instagram, it doesn't matter which photo was from which camera. I would use either. As a matter of fact, one of these photos I did put on Instagram. No one noticed. So I went ahead and edited the cell phone picture to match the Nikon one, just when it comes to the shadows and highlights and the blacks and whites, just to match the dynamic range that the Nikon can provide. And it actually was editable to bring it up to like a similar levels. The Nikon and the cell phone. Nikon, cell phone. Nikon, cell phone. Here's the advantage the Nikon has. Clarity. The megapixel count, much larger. You can zoom in and crop and you get that higher resolution. The cell phone doesn't really provide that. But all you gotta do is get outside and put your camera, well, not really outside. If you're doing portraits and you're taking photos of people, all you gotta do is get the light right in the right scenario. So learn to adapt and overcome your lighting situations, and you'll make your photos better. But it just comes down to how technical do you want to be with your camera specs and how good your camera is, or how good you are at capturing moments, photos, nature, whatever it may be. Let's go to example 2. So a while back, I found this spot with a couple buddies. We stayed the night and then woke up early in the morning, which was the key moment. 5 a.m., I believe, maybe 6 a.m. I waited for that special moment for the sun to crest the mountains, which it was coming up on the side that gave us this beautiful sunlight just casting right through. And that was the key moment that it took to get the photo and to make that right. So whether I was using my cell phone, whether I was using my camera, or whether I was using like the worst photo ever or a Polaroid Insta camera, it doesn't matter. This photo was taken with my cell phone, and this photo was taken with my Nikon. Pretty similar, right? The key was get out there, get up early, wake up at 3 a.m., go on an early drive, get out there, take photos of beautiful things, which means putting beautiful things right in front of that camera lens. And so it cracks me up when these people ask me about, what camera do you shoot with? And then I tell them, and oh, that's a nice camera. No, not necessarily the only thing doing all the work. I'm doing the work by waking up early, going on that long drive, waiting. That's a lot of the time it's waiting. Because that Mount Hood photo I took like 5 hours after I actually got there, and then the hike back up, and it was a whole day for like 2 photos. So you have to dedicate yourself. And a camera can't do that for you. The camera can't dedicate yourself. It could take really sharp imagery. Sometimes it's not even the camera, it's the lens, but you guys don't even care what lens I'm using. That should be the key question. What lens are you using? 24-70. The new Nikon S lens. Anyways, so here's the photo. Alright, so here's the main difference in what a nice camera can do for you. In this case, it was a nice lens. It had a bunch of glass elements stacked in there, giving you a wide photo, but all those glass elements in there create some sort of diffraction of light. And the way the light entered the lens from the side gave it this big glow with some lens flare that created this cool artistic rendering that I could not do on my cell phone. I could probably try on my cell phone, but it wouldn't be nearly as good because there's like 2 to 3 glass elements in a camera lens that's on a phone. But I believe my camera had like 16 to 19 glass elements in there. And so it's going to give you this artistic feel, professional quality image. And on top of that, you have the basic resolution enhancements and dynamic range. And so I wanted to provide this photo to give you an example of, there are instances where a camera that's nice can give you nicer images, but this isn't necessarily an amazing camera. It's just one with the lens that gives you that. Those are my examples. That's all I wanted to teach you. Get outside, put beautiful things in front of your lens if you want beautiful photos. I hope you learned something from this. I hope you can take this information, go elsewhere and make your photos better. If you like this type of thing, go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know I need to do more tutorial based videos. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, Ryan, landscape photographer here. I get a lot of questions. Do exactly how I get a lot of it's also really easy to take involved, but what do I funny stuff. So